I'm Nate Pace, and this is Racing and Wrenching. All right, welcome back to another episode of Racing and Wrenching. I know it's been a little while. I've been really busy working, trying to pay bills, all that kind of stuff, and all kinds of other things going on. But up next, I have Michael Shank, John Pugh. I got Ozz Man here with us, and they're all going to give you a little bit of a rundown on how they got into racing and what their advice is for you to be able to follow the same path.
Well, I started relatively late in life. I was about 42 years old and no intention of starting racing, but decided to take my son to a racing school to teach him how to drive. And I got hooked, and a few years later, here I am at Michael Shank racing a Daytona prototype in the Rolex series.
Excellent. So you don't have to be 15 in a go-kart to make your start. You can get in as years go by a little bit.
No, it helps, but it just takes a lot of work, a lot of time, and determination. I think anybody can do it with the right kind of attitude. I started with a team halfway through when they had to let another driver go, and Ozz knew me and his other driver knew me, and I got on the team, and I'm here, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, I mean, mine started from working on and driving my own race cars and just loving racing and trying to figure out a way I can make a living at it. And I think that's the most important thing to remember. When you're looking at racing, sometimes you might not be able to get exactly where you want to be. We all want to drive F1 cars. The realistic world is that's probably not possible. So it's about being putting yourself in a position where people like me see and hear your name over the PA systems, magazines and television shows. I want to hear about you. If you're good enough, I'll start hearing about you, and then I'll start paying attention. Most important thing is to put yourself in a position that you can win races, because you will be talked about then. If you don't do that, if you try to run third, fourth, or fifth, and you're extending yourself to even do that, go back to a series where you can dominate, so that I learn about you or someone else learns about you. It's always about making sure you're known to me. Otherwise, I'll never hear about it. So start in the street stock categories and dominate it, and then work your way up from there.
It's a little bit easier, I would imagine, at the lower classes too, financially. If you're trying to get into racing, the higher the class you go, the more expensive it is. So if you're working on a budget trying to get into the business, then trying to go all out and get into the fastest car you possibly can might not be the fastest car for the track, and then it gets you buried, right?
It's the worst thing you can do. If you have $80,000, it would be better to run a full season of Miata Cup, say, and dominate it, than taking $80,000 and try to do a GS effort and run mid-pack or worse. You want to be where you can star and you can shine. Don't hinder yourself already. Take the money you do have and put it in the smartest place. And that's what people don't do right. They don't analyze where they need to be seen by people like me. So they got to get to where I can pay attention to them and dominate them. Not just P2, 3, 4, 5. They got to win, and win a lot.
I started racing very young. I was 9 years old, and all I wanted to be is a race car driver. And just like Shank says, you've got to go out there, be running up front so people can talk about you, and then you just have to be. If you don't have the backing, you've got to be very lucky to meet the right people at the right time and take the opportunity with both hands and never let go. I mean, when obviously I went from Brazil to England, and racing over there, you kind of learn quite a bit. Came down here, and when I came here to the States and started racing Indy Lights, trying to get it to IndyCar, that was the turning point, I would say. But I also got to a point where I couldn't go any further, and then I was lucky enough to meet those guys, and win the Rolex 24. A year ago, and just win races and enjoy life and live the dream.
What is our takeaway from this one? Run up front, first place, actually not even up front, right? From his perspective, he's like, if I want to hire you, you need to be winning races, and that's that. Know your budget, stick to it. We've heard that before. From how do I get in a position where I can win races? I just don't have enough money. How do I get to the point where I can find this sourcing to be able to get in there? We all have jobs, we all have bills. Heck, I took this whole summer off of doing the fun car stuff that I love because I have other things to take care of as well. Hopefully be back at it this next summer, but I put all the cash I had into other places because I had things to take care of. So there we are. And I'm sure that's the way it goes for a lot of us. So you gotta try and find a series that you can get into and afford, or you have to try and find sponsorships. And I really hate to call them sponsorships, so let's call them partnerships, because no one's just going to hand you money to go out and do what you want to do. And there needs to be something in it for them as well. And we're going to wait to talk a little bit more about taking racing seriously and how it is you can try and acquire some of these things in our next video. So thanks for joining us here again. Hope you got something out of it. If you know some more cost-effective racing series, then spec me out. Maybe like Lemons or some other racing series that are out there, or even other avenues, go-karts, whatever. Let us know. Tell us down in the comments so that we can help other people find these same great avenues that you have to go out, have fun on the track, be competitive, and maybe try and make your way up into the professional ranks. If you liked the video, feel free to pop a like. If you don't, dislike it, whatever. If you want to see more, make sure you subscribe. All right, guys. Have a good one. See you next time. Ooh, links.